Here's what happened in the qualifying races. Round 6 of the FI Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of France at La Capelle-Marival. In the MX2 qualifying race, Mathis Valin charged to a whole shot and commanded the next couple of corners. Valerio Latta was in there, so too was Guillaume Perez. Perez on the black and yellow Triumph tried to get around the Italian Latta on the Honda. Didn't make it happen there in turn 2, but by the time we headed uphill towards the next corner, the Spaniard was there into second, but the fans were on their feet for Valin. Latta was there in third. And then all of a sudden, as these two started to break free, Perez took his opportunity, took over the lead at the first time of asking. Latta under pressure from Yannis Racelis. Didn't happen the first time around, but eventually Racelis did go through for fourth. That was on the second lap. Then we had a rider down, and it was Perez out of first. He picked himself up in, fifth place behind Francisco Garcia, wildcarding from MX2 And the battle between the top two in the championship, who were outside of the top 10 at one point. Langenfelder left the door open there. Sasha Kunin went by and then went after the Kawasaki rider ahead of him. And then as we got to the sharp end, the late end of the race, Langenfelder started to respond. He found his way back past Latta, and that got him up into 6th. A first qualifying win of the season for Valin. Everett second, Racelis third, Perez fourth. Langenfelder was 6th, Sasha Kunin 7th.
Et puis de toute façon, regardez, c'est au-delà de la France, bien sûr. Chacun sait que nous sommes évidemment des supporters numéro 1. Le sport motocross, c'est tellement un sport dangereux où il faut prendre conscience de toute cette préparation physique et musculaire. Et visiblement, les pilotes ont compris, en tout cas, le niveau.
Here's what happened in the qualifying race in the MXGP race then in round 6 in La Capelle-Marival. Tom Vial with the whole shot. His teammate Jeffy Hurling's right there behind him. Adamo, who eventually faded to 8th place, was there in 3rd. Kai de Wolf eventually found his way past a couple of corners later. But as Hurlings dogged his teammate coming out of the first couple of corners, it wasn't long before he was through. In fact, between turn 4 and 5, down the inside, Tom Vial, though, was in 2nd position, but it wouldn't last long because the next lap caught an edge here. Went sideways one way, then the other, tried to ride it out, but eventually went from 2nd to 18th, but he'd had some warning signs prior to that. He did eventually get himself up to 14th with this move with a couple of laps to go. 13th, actually, with that move on Albi Ferrato. All eyes on the battle for 2nd, though. Eventually, on the final lap, Kai de Wolf just made a slight mistake coming out of there. Lucas Kunin had rehearsed it. That was the 3rd lap in a row that he tried to make that move. He made it stick. This was Hurlings going through to take his 3rd qualifying win of the season, his 3rd in 4 rounds. And just behind him, this was the fireworks for 2nd. Lucas Kunin had found his way past, but that was a last lap pass back for Kai de Wolf, who was 2nd. Kunin 3rd, Renault and Fevre were your top 5.
En 10 minutes. Et puis on retrouve dans quelques minutes Francis au point de show.